Today on Weekly Wrap-Up, Russian Lukoil plant and port on fire. Gas production crisis in Russia, results of Ukrainian drones work. Prince Harry arrived to Kyiv to support injured soldiers. Hello, we are UATV. I am Enrique, and you are again, always, sincerely welcome to the Weekly. Dozens of drones targeted sites across various regions of Russia, including the Primorsk oil ports in Leningrad Oblast and reportedly an oil depot near Smolensk. According to Russia's Ministry of Defense, 221 kamikaze drones were shot down overnight across 13 Russian regions. The drones hit an oil depot near Smolensk with at least 2 confirmed impacts. The Primorsk oil port was also struck, Russia's main oil terminal on the Gulf of Finland, and the final point of the Baltic pipeline system. One vessel and a pumping station caught fire as a result of the drone hit. Massive waves of Ukrainian drone attacks have hit refineries and oil depots across Russia. Yes, the result is nearly a fifth of Russia's refining capacity knocked offline, a growing fuel crisis inside the country. Domestically, these strikes come as the Western sanctions tightened and Europe prepares to completely abandon Russian energy by 2026. Meanwhile, Asian buyers are demanding deeper discounts, and the Kremlin is watching its oil and gas revenues just collapsing. Watch more in our report for you.
By the end of 2026, Europe will fully stop importing gas, oil, and petroleum products from Russia. This was announced by U.S. Energy Secretary Christopher Wright in an interview with CNBC. Washington aims to fully replace Russia as Europe's main energy supplier. Russia is also facing difficulties in Asian markets. Indian importers are now demanding discounts of up to $10 per barrel due to increased sanctions-related risks, according to Reuters.
The growing policy divide between the United States and the European Union on Russian oil exports to India is likely to play out in a small reduction in crude flows in October. Analysts and trade sources with knowledge of loading plans said. The US, EU, and G7 allies sanctioned Russian imports after Moscow's invasion of Ukraine and prohibited insurers and maritime service providers from facilitating exports to third countries unless they were below a price cap. From the Reuters publication.
We've managed to bring down our imports quite substantially, but nonetheless, it's still there. That's also why I have put forward a proposal to ban import of Russian gas. For that to be able to happen in a way that doesn't lead to increase in prices and security of supply problems in Europe, we need help from our American friends. We need to import more LNG.
Before the full-scale war, oil and gas revenues made up as much as 50% of Russia's federal budget. In 2026, that share is expected to fall to just 18%, according to Russia's finance ministry. However, actual results may be worse. In the first 8 months of 2025, Russia's oil and gas revenues dropped by more than 20%.
The federal budget deficit could exceed the planned 1.7% of GDP. It's already reached 5 trillion rubles in 7 months, and it's likely more by now. For 2 months in a row, oil and gas revenues were only 500 billion rubles per month, half of what the government needs. They need 1 trillion per month. Analysts say that if this trend continues, and there's no sign it won't, the deficit could reach 2.5% of GDP.
Western sanctions are being compounded by Ukrainian drone strikes on Russian oil refineries. According to Reuters, ongoing attacks throughout August have knocked out 17% of Russia's oil refining capacity, around 1.1 million barrels per day. As refining volumes drop, the domestic market is also suffering. Several regions are experiencing fuel shortages, with some gas stations completely out of gasoline. The fuel crisis is spreading across more and more areas. The Kremlin's refusal to pursue peace negotiations is impacting other sectors of the economy as well. Metallurgy, coal mining, furniture, clothing, and electrical equipment manufacturing are all seeing average declines of around 10%, according to experts. The crisis has also affected transportation, both rail and air. Most Russian companies expect the economy to continue declining. According to a survey, 57% forecast a downturn by the end of the year, while only 28% are hopeful for growth. The rest see no clear prospects, according to the Center for Countering Disinformation under Ukraine's National Security and Defense Council. Reported by Larisa Petruk, UATV News.
Belarus freed 52 prisoners, including an EU employee, on Thursday after an appeal from United States President Donald Trump. While Washington and Minsk flirted with the rapprochement, many European leaders have viewed it rather skeptical, though. Trump had previously urged the Belarusian dictator Alexander Lukashenko, a close ally of Russian dictator Vladimir Putin, to release detainees whom the United States leader has described as hostages, who they really are. In return for Lukashenko's gesture, Washington granted sanctions relief to Belarus national airline Belavia, allowing it to service and buy components for its aircraft, which include Boeing airplanes, by the way, a White House official said.
I want us to have almost a grand move of negotiations which result in normalizing relationship with Belarus and also getting on.
John Lukoil, who led the U.S. delegation to Minsk, said he believed Lukashenko wanted to change. But you don't change after you've been in the office for some 30 years. It's not going to happen overnight, Lukoil added. And that is obviously what Donald Trump also believes, that Lukashenko wants a change. Even so, Trump asked for all 1,400 prisoners to be released in conversation with Lukashenko last month, but only 52 were actually released. Well, obviously, one who seeks for a change could have found a positive sign even in that just as well, explaining it with an assertion that maybe Lukashenko just ensures himself some room for future negotiations and changes, as there are 1,342 prisoners left to release, and that is enough room for a major change indeed, well, next 30 years in the office. And while the American administration seeks for a change of dictatorial hearts, the easing sanctions for Belarus will also mean that Russia will use its vassal Belarus and its national air carrier Belarus to get what Russia needs desperately: spare parts and components for its own obsolete civilian aircraft fleet, and spare parts for the military just as well. And whatever Russia needs using its pocket Belarusian sanctions loophole will be used. Radosław Sikorski, Poland's Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs, arrived in Kyiv on 12 September for official talks. According to the Polish Foreign Minister, Sikorski was welcomed at the Kyiv railway station by Ukraine's Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha. Sybiha later wrote an text that Ukraine and Poland stand firmly together as Russia escalates its terror campaign against Ukraine and stages provocations against Poland.
Welcome to Kyiv, Radek. Today we will hold substantial talks on our shared security, Ukraine's path to the EU and NATO, and maintaining pressure in Moscow. I thank Poland for its leadership and support. Andriy Sybiha, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine on X social network.
Sikorski's visit comes just 2 days after Russian drones made an unprecedented incursion into Polish airspace. On 11th of September, Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk confirmed what Warsaw would intensify cooperation with Kyiv to strengthen defense against Russian drone strikes. Reuters also reports that Polish military representatives will travel to Ukraine to learn counter-drone techniques from Ukrainian forces. His Royal Highness Prince Harry has paid an unannounced visit to Kyiv after being invited by an organization that supports Ukrainians with life-changing injuries from the war. Arriving by train on Friday morning, the Duke of Sussex said he wanted to do everything possible to aid the recovery of injured soldiers and civilians. His schedule for the day remains undisclosed, though reports suggest he will unveil new rehabilitation initiatives later in the trip. Superhumans, a charity that provides prosthetics and rehabilitation for war victims, confirmed it had invited Harry. The prince previously visited a Superhumans facility in Lviv in April, but this marks his first trip to the capital, Kyiv. Ukraine has tens of thousands of amputees as a result of Russia's full-scale invasion, though exact figures remain undisclosed. Other members of the royal family have also voiced support for Ukraine. King Charles hosted Zelensky at Sandringham Palace in March, while Prince William met Ukrainian refugees in Estonia the same month, praising their resilience. Prince Harry's visit comes shortly after a reunion with his father, King Charles, in London on Wednesday, the first in-person meeting since February 2024. That's it. My name is still Henry Keane. We are still, as usual, UATV, and thank you for standing with Ukraine. Please don't forget to subscribe so to stay tuned to what is happening in the world scene from Ukrainian perspective. Goodbye.